Hi. So the topic for my homework for this course is man-in-the-middle attack using ARP cache poisoning. Cache poisoning basically relies on the stateless nature of the ARP protocol, which is used for different hosts to identify other hosts on a local network. Now, different hosts identify each other using the MAC or hardware as addresses on the local network as opposed to IP addresses, which are used out in the internet. How this works is, so the legitimate working of the ARP protocol goes something like this. So if Alice wants to talk to Eve, Alice simply knows the IP address of Eve and does not know the physical or the MAC address, so she has no idea how to contact Eve. So Alice sends an ARP request, which is basically a broadcast message on the entire local network with Eve's IP address, Alice's IP address, and Alice's MAC address. Now, everybody on the network receives this message, and so when Eve actually receives this ARP request, it realizes that the IP belongs to itself, and so it replies back to Alice with an ARP reply, which basically contains Eve's IP address and Eve's MAC address. So what happens next is, Eve at this point has Alice's IP and MAC addresses, which Eve stores in its ARP cache table. And when Eve replies back to Alice, Alice now has Eve's MAC address as against its IP address, and Alice also adds that entry into its own ARP cache table. So now they know how to communicate with each other since they know each other's MAC addresses. Now, how the ARP poisoning attack works is because ARP is inherently a stateless protocol, which means that Alice or Eve or any other machine would have no recollection whether somebody has actually sent an ARP request to which they need to reply or not. They have no recollection of the ongoing communication. So the bad guy, Bob, acts like man in the middle here, which means he basically wants to listen to the communication between Alice and Eve. So Bob sends an ARP reply to Alice with Eve's IP address and MAC address of Bob, which Alice now stores or overrides in its ARP table. That means that the ARP table is poisoned. Similarly, Bob also sends an ARP reply to Eve with Alice's IP address and Bob's own MAC address, and Eve also stores this entry into its ARP cache. Basically, both the ARP caches of Alice and Eve at this point are poisoned. So to simulate this entire Alice, Bob, and Eve on the local network environment, I've created 3 virtual machines using VirtualBox. So let's go to Alice and let's find out Alice's IP address, which is 192.168.0.25, and this is Alice's hardware address or MAC address. Also, let's check the entries in Alice's ARP table. Right. So all we see is the IP address of the gateway and the MAC address of the gateway. That's all we see for now. Let's go to Eve. Similarly, Eve's IP address is 192.168.0.26, and this is Eve's MAC address. Again, if you check Eve's ARP table, all it has is the IP address of the gateway and the MAC address of the gateway. Now let's go to Evil Bob. So to be able to run our code, we need to have root access on Bob. As you can see, I've done a sudo su out here. We're going to run a program, which is ARPer, which is our code, and we're going to pass it 2 parameters. The first one is Eve's IP address, and the first one is Alice's IP address, and the second one is Eve's IP address. That's the one we're trying to impersonate, the Alice. Now, when I run this, Bob will basically start sending out ARP replies to both Alice and Eve so as to poison their ARP cache tables. So let's do this. As you can see, Bob has been sending these ARP replies. So let's go to Alice and see what's happening here. Now if we check the ARP cache tables for Alice, what we can see is, we can see an entry with Eve's IP address, but the MAC address belongs to Bob. And similarly, if you go to Eve and check its ARP table, we can see that there is an IP address that belongs to Alice, but the MAC address belongs to Bob, which is the same as this. You can see like two repeated entries because this is Bob's IP address. So this is essentially ARP cache poisoning, where Bob has successfully poisoned the ARP caches for Eve and Alice, and this attack is successful. You can just stop this, and after a while it will automatically clear the ARP poisoned entries because the network will readjust and update its ARP table. This is ARP cache poisoning attack, and it's a powerful attack at a local level. However, there are several ways in which this can be avoided. Thank you.